On behalf of the Latino Caucus, today I rise to present H.R. 86 to commemorate the birth and legacy of César Chávez. This past week, many Californians enjoyed an extended weekend in honor of his tremendous contributions to our state, and in the spirit of his work, participated in service projects and communities throughout the entire state. César Chávez's life is of particular importance to me in my district because it was in Delano that César, alongside a dedicated group of activists, began to build the farm worker movement. You know, growing up, we would learn and we would see César Chávez and his teachings of hard work, self-sacrifice, and perseverance. I remember as a kid, me and my sister hearing the stories from our loved ones about César and the UFW and seeing the marches happening in front of our homes and in our local parks. At the time, there were many debates about what the movement was trying to accomplish and who it was helping and who it wasn't. We saw and heard about the organizing of farm workers in the fields. We learned about the partnerships with the Manangs, a union of Filipino-American workers, and how César Chávez and Larry Yitlong fought hard for better working conditions and better pay. We learned about the unprecedented 340-mile march from Delano to the Capitol and the eventually the passing of the California Labor Relations Act of 1975. But members, I want to focus on a different part of César Chávez's life that those that knew him and grew up with him and his teachings remember about him that don't always get highlighted. One such aspect was his teachings of nonviolence, perseverance, hard work, and just seeing the strength in others. Members, I just want to share a couple of personal stories, if I may, stories that I've learned over the years, talking with his son Paul Chávez, with his grandson, with the Chávez family and the extended family over the years. And one of the stories that always gets highlighted to me in those personal interactions is César Chávez's ability to see strength in others. And when you talk about what does that actually mean, I remember talking to his son, and his son was talking about, you know, my father saw in me strengths that I didn't even know that I possessed. He put him in charge of positions and in charge of jobs, starting from a printing press and doing something so small and so minute that he thought it was just a small part of the cog. But how that trained him to be a better organizer and a better leader and understand the entire organization. You hear the stories about nonviolence, something that we're hearing a lot about today and in today's political climate. But the fights that were occurring decades ago about nonviolence, the fights of the only way they will listen to us is if we respond with violence because nobody is listening otherwise. And César used to teach his kids, his family, and everybody in the movement that you get more accomplished with nonviolence because people are trying to understand what you're trying to do. You get more done with nonviolence because you do not let hate control you, your actions, and the situation around you. Those are lessons I believe are very pertinent for today's political environment. The other thing that you won't hear about or read about probably too much in the papers, but just growing up in the area, is the dedication to hard work and perseverance. And the perseverance is one of the things I want to highlight because we always read about the accomplishments of César Chávez and of the Union, but we never hear about the losses and the hard times. And when you talk to his family or you talk to people that grew up in the area, they'll tell you about a lot of times when they came up on the short end of the stick. And César used to tell his kids, he used to tell them, if you fought as hard as you could fight and you did everything that you could possibly do, then you didn't lose. The only time you lose is when you give up hope, when you no longer get up, dust yourself off, and continue to fight for another day. In 1993, César Chávez passed away, and over 40,000 people marched by his casket in Delano at 40 Acres. In close, members, I just want to close with a couple of things. One, his words that I think hold true to me and to many of us here, that once social change begins, it cannot be reversed. You cannot uneducate the person who has learned to read. You cannot humiliate the person who feels pride. You cannot oppress the people who are not afraid anymore. Mr. Speaker, members, I ask that the roll be open for co-authors for an American hero, an American who served his country honorably in the U.S. Navy, and who has been awarded the Medal of Honor and was actually inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2006 by a Republican governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger.